Union International for a union which is another affiliate of Stop the War Coalition, who are currently balloting their members for strike action, and we'll know the result of that ballot on 30th of January. Please welcome from the Fire Brigades Union, Riccardo la Torre.
Hello. Hello, can you hear that?
Yeah. Use that one.
Hello. I've been setting up feedback on you for I have to come up after that, so I'll do my best, comrades. So Riccardo la Torre from the Fire Brigades Union. I was going to approach this with a question: is war a trade union issue? And of course it is, yes, that's why we're all here. That has been answered in great detail by some fantastic speakers for all of today. That's down to want to talk about why that's detail we need to take back into our workplaces. And now what we do about we're all in agreement with this trade union issue, how do we convince members that that's the case? And once we do, what is it we do about it? How do we harness that collective power of organised labour, of trade unions, to truly campaign for peace on this? And look, it's difficult. I'm sure many of you would have seen the Fire Brigades Union statement on the Ukraine war in particular. That won us many supporters, but it also didn't make us many friends in some areas as well. Is that when you want to talk about the context, the true context, not that simple binary, you support it or you're an apologist, it is a difficult discussion, and our members will very much be feeling that pressure, so we have to give them the confidence of the facts and the reasons as to how they can do that. And look, it's quite unique, we're doing this in quite a unique environment, quite a cycle in the Fire Brigades Union, because our history and our membership is interwoven with war. It always has been. Not only are fire and rescue services military bodies, our bodies of the military in many parts of the world, when we're not, we're a civilian uniformed service, but even here, we have direct links to the Navy here. It wasn't once upon a time, it was a direct route when you finished in the Navy, you joined the fire and rescue service. Very much of our language and our cultures and our policies today very much reflect that. We still today have very, very many members of the forces, ex-forces, join the fire and rescue service when they leave. The role of the Fire Brigades Union throughout the World War II years, and that very much shapes the Fire Brigades Union that we know today, our structures and our involvement in that. We go back to the Fire Brigades Union, as many trade unions are a very unwritten part of history within the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and the part of the Fire Brigades Union as a membership of a voice who cross communities played in peace talks there, as did many other trade unions. So a part of that history is often unwritten. We realise this is a very sensitive and detailed discussion for us to have, but one, for all the reasons we've heard today that we have to have, because I go beyond the fact is war a trade union issue. I mean, technically it's a trade union responsibility. It's more than it's a workers issue, it's a responsibility for trade unions. When we look at who the winners and losers are within war, it is always outclassed, it is always working people. And I couldn't say it better than I heard just now. A bayonet is a weapon with a worker on each end of it. And that's whether we're directly losing. There are thousands, hundreds and thousands of millions of working people who die as a result of wars across the world. If they're not died or injured, if they're not injured, they're displaced. And I'm going to come back to our class being displaced as a result of war in a bit. Also indirectly, the effects of sanctions. We've thrown sanctions out for fun. We don't expect the ruling class, the bosses, the super rich here, when their profits are hit, when their finances are hit, to take that themselves. Now they pass it on to working people, they turn it into a tax on working people to claw that back, and that's exactly what we see wherever we will apply sanctions around the world. The funding, with several billions our military spend has increased in this country. At the same time, firefighters, nurses, nearly everybody in this room is being told we can't afford a pay rise. Shelley was correct, the chair was correct there. We are currently balloting in the Fire Brigades Union. It closed on the 30th of January after 12 years of pay restraint, after being with £4,000 in real terms behind where he was 10 years ago. There's 12,000 firefighters less of us than there was 12 years ago, meaning you're seeing us getting hospitalised at the slightest spike of demand. This recent heat wave, as fire engines sat dormant on fire stations all over the country where we don't have the people to crew them. Firefighters desperately calling for backup, could not get those resources, and we ended up in the hospital trying to get our community back on its feet through this recent extreme weather event. No, it's simply unacceptable. And the cost to rectify that is a drop in the ocean compared to what we're spending on dropping bombs and firing bullets into other working class people around the world, be that directly or indirectly. Solidarity with workers in war, and we can look at Ukraine for it. War also provides a mask. It provides a mask for the ruling class and the bosses to push through what they've always wanted. We have seen Zelensky push through an attack on labour rights on Ukrainian workers like never before. About 70% of Ukrainian workers would have had their trade union rights removed, their collective agreements ripped up, 0-hour contracts now being made legal, under the mask of war, under the guise that is to help businesses get through the war. But you don't have to pull the curtain back much to see it's the exact same laws that Zelensky and his government were trying to push through long before the war started in Ukraine. And we can look at that here too. No, we're meant to swallow this austerity, we're meant to swallow our real terms pay cuts now because of inflation. And again, we point to Putin, don't we? You know, it's called inflation linked to energy prices, and we'll blame Putin for that. Workers aren't being allowed the space to have the discussion of the real causes, that these cohort of oil producing companies are intentionally driving up prices, and it is up for profiteering and nothing else, and it is us that pay the price. So workers deserve to have this discussion in contact. Yes, damn right we need to speak about NATO. And we can't have apologies screamed at us every time that we want to. We have to talk about the politics of war. We have to talk about the class politics of war. Because only then do we understand and we can discuss with our members why this truly is a workers' issue and a trade union issue. And they will understand the hypocrisy. They will understand the funding issues, but they will also understand the hypocrisy of this bloodthirsty call for war rather than peace. We'll place sanctions on some countries, providing weapons that lead to attacks on civilians, yet we will directly supply weapons to other regimes that directly lead to attacks on civilians. And we only have to look at the barbarity in Yemen to see how ashamed we all should be of that. So I had a lot more, but I'm going to wrap it up because I've been told I've got 2 minutes. There's one really other point to this discussion.
2 minutes ago.
I only just saw it. I'm going to end on this because we cannot have the discussion about war being a trade union issue and what workers can do about it without having a discussion about the anti-trade union laws. We've heard about the fantastic work of our comrades in German, complemente i nostri compagni in Genova per la potere, coraggio e l'azione che avete fatto lì. And that sort of action we deem illegal. To truly attack these wider political issues, we need to loosen these shackles, these anti-worker shackles, the worst anti-trade union laws in the Western world, so workers can stand up and use their organised power to truly campaign for peace. We cannot do that. I'm going to forget what I was going to say, comrades. I'm going to wrap up on this. If you indulge me, I'm going to be that guy that everyone hates now. I'm going to be the guy who reads out his favourite quote. I wouldn't normally, but I think it's very, very relevant to what we're talking about. I'm sure you've all read Fortune Fire, the first history of the Fire Brigades Union. Cover There's a fella called Peter Payne in World War II years, operating in a very different context, of course. He was a barrister and a judge, but during World War II, he became a firefighter. Many of you would have heard of him. He joined the Auxiliary Fire Service. And under the General Secretary, John Horner, he actually done my job. He had the standards, obviously, jobs a lot over the years. But he was the national officer for the Fire Brigades Union. And coming out of the war, he turned to page 86 of the Fortune Fire, it's written there, and it's jumped out at me as a young trade unionist, really trying to get my head around the difficulties and the context of this conversation, which we have to be having on workplaces. And if you indulge me, he said, by the end of the war, much will be in ruins. Ideas as well as buildings. The power of the bankers must lie buried in the debris of the City of London. The ghosts of vested interests must stalk this continent through the gutted warehouses. The abuses of the big monopolies must have been washed down the sewers by our jets. The old capitalist system, like the captive Samson, must perish in the ruins which has pulled down on itself. The people alone will survive, the tough, invincible working people. When peace comes, these people will build a brave new world. The firemen will be there again in front rank. We should learn the lessons in the Fire Brigade Union, the lessons which must be applied to society as a whole. We shall know the value of unity and loyalty, of persistence against tremendous odds, of self-discipline and of democratic discussion. By the virtue of our knowledge, we shall take the lead. I tell that to all of our new members. I think it covers exactly the difficulties that we're facing, and why working people absolutely have to take the lead when it comes to campaigning for peace. Solidarity.